Nolan Wells update, viral audio and leaked text put major suspects in the spotlight. That title is not a tease. Every word in it is supported by evidence. And by the time this video ends, you will understand exactly why. Here is what happened. An 18-year-old went to an island with people he trusted. He never came home. 2 days later, his body was recovered from the water. And the people who were with him last? They made a phone call on the way back, a call that is now public record, a call that raises more questions than it answers. That is where this story starts, not with who Nolan was, with what that call contains. The call was placed to Sea Tow, a marine towing assistance company. Dispatcher Vicky picks up. A teenage male voice comes through, rattled, barely organized. He says the bilge pump failed. The boat is taking on water. They are at the west tip of Horn Island, somewhere between 17 and 31 feet of water. He cannot get the depth consistent. Vicky does her job. She asks for GPS coordinates. She asks how many people are on board. She asks about life jackets. Then she asks the one question that changes everything. Do you need the United States Coast Guard? His answer? No, we do not need that. A boat is sinking. Teenagers are on board. And someone made a deliberate decision in that moment to say no to the Coast Guard. That decision is on the recording, pulled by NBC News through a public records request. Not leaked, not a screenshot, official audio. Now watch this. While the teenager is still on the line with Vicky, she transfers the call to local Captain Seth. During the handoff, Seth reveals something unexpected. He just got off a separate call. A different line entirely, with the grandfather, the registered owner of the boat, and the grandfather's message. They don't need any help right now. If something changes, he'll call back. Same incident, same moment in time. Two completely opposite messages. One line, sinking boat, panicked teenager. Other line, grandfather says everything is fine. That shift is documented within the same official phone record, and it has never been explained publicly. Not once. Now here is where this channel has to be direct with you. This call has been heard by millions of people online, and in those plays, one claim keeps spreading. Listeners say they can hear background voices beneath the main conversation, asking whether Nolan is dead, telling someone to check his chest. Those claims exist. The audio exists, but the specific interpretation of what those background voices are saying has not been confirmed by NBC News, has not been verified by any credible outlet. No forensic audio expert has publicly authenticated it. Law enforcement has not confirmed it. That is not a dismissal. That is an honest account of where the evidence stands. What is not disputed is the emotional register of that call. Disjointed answers. A refusal of Coast Guard help on a boat described as sinking. That combination sits in the record, uncomfortably. Regardless of what anyone believes about the background audio, before this story goes any further, if you are not subscribed to Detective Crime Hour, do it right now. This channel does not chase clicks. We chase confirmed evidence. And in a case this complicated, with this much noise online, you need a source that separates what is real from what is rumor. Subscribe now. Because Chapter 2 is where the GPS data dismantles the version of events the friend group has publicly described. And once you see those numbers, the timeline they gave will never hold the same weight again. The friend group said the trip home was simple. They left the island. They went back. The GPS record says something different. And this is not an opinion. This is not someone's theory online. This is data pulled directly from onboard chart plotters on both boats, under a signed law enforcement search authorization, a government-authorized document, not a leak, not a screenshot from someone's phone, an official record. And what it shows has not been addressed by a single member of that friend group, not one. The boat left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m., Nolan was not on it. At 5:52 p.m., it arrived at Fort Bayou. At 6:06 p.m., it stopped at a dock. 6 minutes. Then, at 6:36 p.m., it left again, this time heading towards St. Martin Bayou. At 7:19 p.m., the boat was finally pulled from the water. Do the math. That is nearly 3 hours. From the moment they left Horn Island to the moment that boat came out of the water. 3 hours. Multiple stops. Multiple locations. Fort Bayou. Not mentioned in any public account. The 6-minute dock stop. Not explained by anyone. St. Martin Bayou. Not addressed. Not once. 3 locations. 3 gaps in the timeline. 0 public explanations. Now here is what Warren Hudson did address. Warren Hudson is Nolan's closest friend. By his own description, he has spoken more publicly about this case than anyone else in that group. He sat down with commentator Brandon Tatum, extended on-camera interview, every question answered. He explained an earlier GPS anomaly, a slow then fast speed pattern that spread widely online. His explanation was mechanical. He said the motor would not stay trimmed properly in the water. Someone got into the water to pull the drain plug. Passengers moved to the front of the boat to level it out and bring it up to proper speed. That is a mechanically plausible explanation for that specific pattern, but it does not explain Fort Bayou. It does not explain why the boat left again at 6:36. It does not explain St. Martin Bayou. Those stops exist in the GPS record. That record was authorized by law enforcement, and Hudson's public account does not cover them. That gap between what he addressed and what the GPS shows is not a small one. Now stay with me, because later that same night, the phone became an issue. Around 12:30 a.m., a group of people showed up at the house where the friend group had gathered. Among them, the mother of a mutual friend named Javon. She came in asking for Nolan's phone. Hudson's account of what happened next is this. Nolan had left his phone on the boat. He was not the only one. Multiple people left belongings on board that day. The boat's owner, Wyatt, had gathered those items and placed them in his truck. Nolan's phone was in that truck. When Javon's mother asked for it, Hudson says there was no hesitation, no argument, no back and forth. The phone was handed over. He states explicitly that no one in the group accessed Nolan's phone, that none of them knew his password, that from the moment it left the boat to the moment it was handed over, nobody touched it. That is a detailed and direct denial. It is the account of someone who was present. It is testimony. It is not forensic confirmation. And the difference between those two things matters enormously in an active investigation. A joint forensic review of that phone has been described as pending. Family retained investigators and law enforcement examining the device together. Whatever that review reveals has not been made public. Now take a look at this. Because there is one person whose account matters more than any piece of GPS data, more than any phone record, her name is Katie. She is the young woman Hudson describes being with Nolan in the water at approximately 3 p.m. He describes them with their arms around each other, both heads above the surface. 2 people clearly comfortable with each other. Then the boat had a problem. The group scrambled to deal with it. Nolan was still in the water, still with Katie, away from the boat, away from the immediate crisis on board. A friend called out to him, "Get on the boat before we leave." According to the account offered publicly, Nolan said no. He was staying. The boat left Horn Island without him. Katie was the last known person physically present with Nolan on that island. She has not given a public statement. She has not appeared in any interview. She has not spoken publicly at all. Tatum's team says they have text messages from Katie. They have chosen not to publish them yet. They are waiting for Katie to respond and provide context first. The same process they offered to Warren Hudson before his account was discussed publicly. whatever those texts contain, is the single most significant unpublished piece of this entire case. Because she was there, after the boat left, with Nolan, on that island, and her account does not exist anywhere in the public record. Okay, stop here for a second. If this evidence is landing differently than what you have seen covered elsewhere, that is because this channel does not mix confirmed facts with unverified online claims and present them as the same thing. Every piece of evidence in this video has a source attached to it. Government-authorized GPS records, official audio obtained through public records requests, on-camera testimony from named individuals. That standard matters, especially in a case with this much noise surrounding it. If that is the kind of coverage you want to keep watching, subscribe to Detective Crime Hour right now. Hit the like button on this video, because Chapter 3 is where the leaked texts land, where Christine Wells' own corrected statement creates a new problem in the public record, and where everything documented in this case gets laid out side by side so you can see exactly what is confirmed and what is still dangerously unanswered. The clearest picture this case has produced is one chapter away. 3 days after Nolan went missing, a text message landed on Christine Wells' phone, not from law enforcement, not from a detective with an update, from a woman named Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole is the stepmother of one of the friends who was on that boat. Her professional role, a family law judge. The message was short. Christine, this is Ashley Cole. If or when you ever want to talk to me, this is my number. That text was later leaked. Tatum's team says they verified it. No neutral third-party outlet has independently authenticated it. That caveat is real. It should not be set aside. But here is what makes that text significant. It does not stand alone. It sits directly next to something that Christine Wells confirmed herself. In a media appearance, Christine stated that none of the friends or their families reached out to her after the group obtained legal representation. Then she corrected herself, voluntarily, without being challenged with evidence, without someone putting a document in front of her. She said she misspoke. 2 or 3 families had in fact reached out, one with condolences, one asking her to call when she was ready, one saying there was something they needed to talk about, a grieving mother, doing dozens of media appearances, operating under an overwhelming public spotlight, misstating a detail, then correcting it on her own. That is human. That happens. But the gap between what she first said and what she later corrected, with the Ashley Cole text sitting right in that gap, is a tension the public record has not resolved. And it is now part of the documented timeline of this case. Now here is what Warren Hudson said when he was given no room to be vague. Tatum asked him 3 direct questions, on camera. No lawyer buffer, no prepared statement. Did you kill Nolan? Hudson's answer came back immediately. Of course not. Did you have anything to do with his death? Absolutely not. Did you delete anything from his phone? No, of course not. No hesitation before those answers. No pause to think. No hedged language. An unhedged on-camera denial is not nothing. It is also not proof. It is testimony from someone with every reason to be believed and every reason to be scrutinized. Both of those things are simultaneously true, and the honest handling of this case requires holding both. Hudson also addressed the funeral. He did not attend. He said his reason was simple. He feared his presence would become the story, that it would pull attention away from the service Nolan deserved. The record does not tell us whether that was genuine selflessness or a calculated choice. Both interpretations exist. Neither has been eliminated. Now take a look at the call sequence from the night of July 4th. Because this part of the record challenges one of the earliest claims made about how this case unfolded. At 11:07 p.m., Warren Hudson called Christine Wells. She did not answer. He called back. She answered. They spoke for approximately 5 minutes. About 1 minute after that call ended, Hudson called the United States Coast Guard. Call log screenshots showing this sequence were shared publicly by Tatum's team. Those screenshots have not been independently verified by a neutral outlet. They have not been pulled from carrier records by law enforcement publicly, but there is partial corroboration from a separate source. A search and rescue volunteer with the United Cajun Navy independently described receiving a call that connected their team to Nolan Wells on that same night. 2 separate sources. No apparent coordination between them, both describing outreach to Christine's network on roughly the same evening timeline. That overlap matters, even without full independent verification of the call logs themselves. Because if that sequence is accurate, it directly contradicts the early claim that the friend group stayed silent while Christine searched for answers alone. Now here is what the record actually confirms. All of it. In one place. Nolan Wells went to Horn Island on July 4th. He was last seen at approximately 3 p.m. in the water with Katie. His friends left the island without him. The boat took nearly 3 hours to return, with documented stops in Fort Bayou and St. Martin Bayou that no member of the friend group has publicly explained. A distress call was made from that boat. Coast Guard assistance was declined. The registered boat owner separately told the towing company the group no longer needed help. Nolan's body was recovered 2 days later. A forensic review of his phone is pending. Katie has not spoken publicly. Text messages reportedly in Tatum's possession have not been published. No charges have been filed. No grand jury date has been publicly confirmed, and here is what is not confirmed. What the background voices on the CTO audio are saying. What happened on Horn Island between 3 p.m. and dark. What the phone forensics will show. What Katie's texts contain. Why the boat traveled to Fort Bayou. What occurred during that 6-minute dock stop. That list of unanswered questions is not shrinking fast enough. Not for a mother still waiting. Not for anyone who has followed every documented detail of this case and watched them pile up without a single complete explanation attached to any of them. Nolan Wells was 18 years old. He got on a boat on a holiday afternoon with people he had known for years. He never made it back to shore. The GPS record shows where that boat went. The audio record shows what was said. The text record shows what was sent. And the one person last physically present with Nolan on that island has not said a single word publicly. Until Katie speaks, until the phone forensics are released, until someone accounts for those 3 hours and those unexplained stops, this case does not close. It does not get filed away. It does not fade from the record. If you stayed through all 3 chapters of this video, you already know why Detective Crime Hour is different. This channel does not blend confirmed evidence with unverified claims and present them as the same thing. Every case covered here gets the same treatment this one did. Source attached, facts separated from speculation, no exceptions. Subscribe to Detective Crime Hour right now. Because when Katie's account becomes public, when the phone forensics are released, when this investigation moves toward a grand jury, this channel will break it down in the same way we just did. Confirmed fact by confirmed fact. Nolan Wells deserves the truth. His mother deserves the truth. And this channel is not stopping until that truth has somewhere to land.